12 Days of Turner.
Hi there. I'm with my mother, Claudette, Kelly Peacock, and I wanted to have an opportunity to ask her to share some stories that she used to tell us when we were kids. The story that you told that starts off with basically when you get buried in purple, you're supposed to be, you come back. Well, I want to share with you the story that the way I remember it, and because I used it in my play, Summer Dreams, and I'm going to read that to you and see how it compares to the reality of what you experience. Okay? It is the story's being told by Esper. He's on the porch with his wife Maggie and their friend Edna, and he starts off. They buried my great aunt Viola in purple, buried her in a purple dress and a mink stole. And just like anybody else ever buried in purple, she came back. I was 12 when she died. Maggie says, you ain't seen nobody, Esper. I swear for God, Maggie. She died in the month of August. We buried her and then went back to the business of life. Jack and Ruth is long gone. It's still hot as anything. I beat Daddy at checkers so bad he had gone up to bed a while back. So I'm sitting there looking up at the stars when out of nowhere a sudden breeze crosses over me. But this breeze doesn't cool me. It chills me to my very core. Next thing I know, I hear the piano from the living room parlor playing the quietest, saddest notes you ever want to hear. I could hear those soft, sad notes. I stood slowly and softly stepped into the pitch black house. There were no overhead lights, and I proceeded into the darkness. I quietly entered the parlor.
As I entered the parlor, and there, sitting in a perfect circle of light, was Aunt Viola playing that piano. As I entered, she stopped playing and turned to me and smiled. Yes, don't be afraid. The road will be hard, but you will travel well. And as she recommenced playing those sad, lonely notes on the piano.
Next thing I know, she jumped! Esper jumps, the women scream, and baby starts crying. That's not funny, Esper. See, you went and woke up the baby. You and Edna did that with all your hollering. Maggie exits to care for the baby. I'm never going to believe another thing you say, Esper. Esper, honest to goodness, Edna, except for that last part about Aunt Viola jumping, that is a true story. So, is that similar to what happened to you? Okay. Sitting in the chair when you saw her?
Yes.
After she'd been buried?
Yes.
Okay. That's the part of the story I want to know about. All right. So now, how old were you?
Well, I know it couldn't have been much more than, might not even have gotten to 10 because my father died when I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
He was an automobile wreck. And he was still living. But my mama belonged to a club, wonderful club, when church women get together.
Mm-hmm.
And he had gone to pick her up. And because I was the oldest and his favorite, he didn't make me go to bed when the other children went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And that left me sitting on the front porch when he went to pick up my mom, she and Miss Nettie and whatever women went to the wonderful club.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a long porch because at one time the house had been a double house. And we lived in it. My father made it a single house. It was a big house. So the porch was from one end to the other end, So I finally got up enough nerve to get up. I was going to go in the house and go to bed because he'd going to pick up my mom and this and that. And when I got to the door, Aunt Mamie was sitting in the chair.
Aunt Mamie, that was her name?
It just came to me. And she had on a purple dress. She was sitting by the piano. My father could play the piano. He and my mom. Played the piano. They'd never taken any music lessons, but they could play.
Well, you said your father was in a singing group and everything, wasn't he?
No, he was in the choir. He wasn't in a singing group.
Oh, I thought at one point he was in a little group or something.
No.
Okay. All right, so what time of the year was this then?
Well, it was summertime because I was out on the front porch.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happened, I was out on the front porch. And I stayed out there until Miss Annie finally said, okay, Claudette, you need to go in the house now.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I was coming along, everybody in the neighborhood took care of you.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't rip you, but they could, threaten you and tell your mom if you don't do this or whatever. And my mama had the only girls in the whole block. She had 4 girls. Everybody else had boys.
Mm-hmm.
And so Miss Annie was getting ready to go in the house. She said, okay, Claudette, you need to go on in the house. And then my dad had left to go and pick up my mom from the club meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so
You walk into the house.
walking to the house, and I got to the door, the front door, it was open. And she was sitting in his favorite chair, and she had on purple. And when I told people,
Did you say anything?
no, she didn't say anything. That was enough that she was sitting in the chair.
So so when she was sitting there, had you gone to the funeral?
No, I hadn't gone to the funeral because parents didn't let children go to funerals too much.
Mm-hmm.
When I was only 10,
And so you walk into the house and she's
I
sitting in the
hadn't
chair.
gotten in the house. I got to the front door, got rid of the storm door. I mean, the door was open, but the screen door was open.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw her sitting in the chair. So I didn't go in.
Oh, you didn't go in. So,
No. I told my daddy had gone and get my